drinking water, food, and inoculations to create a compliant, pliable population.
And in Endgame 1.5, we have Dr. Michael Kaufman reading from official Pentagon-sanctioned studies of what they would do by the year 2000 from the 60s. And these are major universities saying, we will hype the sports up for everybody. We will start drugging everyone with the Soma-type drugs we're developing. They said we will then start breaking up the families, and everyone will be literally like childlike people and then we can start reducing their numbers. So they're just getting everyone ready to where, oh, yeah, everybody on the block's dying of cancer. Well, I guess I'm dying. I love the government. Oh, and the newscasters are, cold is coming tomorrow. Be sure and wear your mittens and your hat, and they talk to you, I heard it on the news this morning, like you're a baby. And the average person kind of, oh, I like the government. And everybody kind of ninnies and is real soft and loves tattling and loves, oh, I got cancer. Oh, good, I love the government. I mean, it's just so sick. It's so sick.
And it was all planned this way and implemented by scientific means. Yeah.
Oh, Alan, what do we do, man? I mean, I am never going to be able to take my kids on a flight, which is what they want. They want us to stop traveling, but I can't let them naked body scan my children.
Well, they even want to do it coming in.
Now they say they're going to have checkpoints on the highways. You won't be able to run from it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. They're talking about putting in the major crossovers of the Canadian borders. So you can't even drive across now without going through this humiliating experience.
They interrogate my people. They make them have proof of the cameras they have with purchase proof. They harass everyone. They take your laptops. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. This is what totalitarian society happens to be. We're in it. See, people got to realize we're in a totalitarian society. It didn't happen by chance. It was planned a long time ago.
Well, the total proof of that is their own documents, but look how it's the same system worldwide run by the same companies.
Yep.
And what they did, though, is they were smart here. They built the grid, and now they're launching it. They lined up all their cannons and weapons aimed at us, got us ready, and then just started blasting. What, about a year ago?
Yep. Yep. And it's coming down so quickly now, and we got to get to the youngsters. They're getting the bulk of the scientific indoctrination. They're going to grow up accepting it. They already trained them first going through their school scanners to make sure they're getting used to the idea. And I said years ago, this is ongoing for life. They're getting trained for their livelihoods.
And that brings me to the next thing. Yep. But by the time I left high school, they would bring you in under a federal program and have you answer all these psychological questions so the feds could decide what type of worker bee you should be. Stay there. And then they go to the police and talk about how horrible the parents are and how, why don't we have home inspections of all homes? And it's not even illegal to not register your kids. It's a legalese. They use the CPS to swear out that they believed it was child endangerment, meaning you have a kid playing with dynamite or something, which they didn't. So they come and arrest them for a big event, and the media's like, more needs to be done. You have this Soviet outrage of grabbing the kids and arresting the parents and showing their mug shots on TV. And then the message from the media is, that's not enough. Remember, the media is so evil now that nationwide they tell you mercury is good for your brain. I've played that clip probably 150 times. Go to YouTube, type news says mercury is good for brain. We'll play it again. It's only 10 seconds. I mean, Alan, they are practicing insanity and craziness, and we're going to naked body scan you, and we're going to do this and that to just break our will? Or is it that people have been raised now with really no will or no mooring, and so whatever they're told is good?
You're right, with no mooring. You see, there's no cultural mooring anymore. That's why the first big attacks were to destroy all religions that gave you at least self-respect. Let's destroy that. They've been very successful. But then told to play during the 70s, the 60s, and 70s. Just play, be eternal children forever. Don't worry about the big problems. Just go out and have fun. And of course, now we've been trained that way. We believe we're perpetual children. Most folk who are adults today think of themselves in a childish mentality.
Well, it's an illusion, Alan. People drive around in their cars, they pay their taxes, they question nothing. Yep. They think the world is a wonderland, and they're just passively going. And every time the cops arrest somebody for no reason or take their kids or kill somebody, the victims make excuses for them.
That's right. But they do know that through all their studies over the last 100 years, 87% of the public will always believe what they're told by the major media. They can't hold more than two major crises in their head at the same time. And that way, when they give them a new crisis, they delete the last one. They forget even had the last one a month ago. Well, first it's the bank crash, next it's the bailouts. Now the economy's down the tube. Now it's the flu.
And then now they're about to pass government-controlled health care, but we're all talking about body scanners.
Yes. And so that's how it works. 87% of the public can only hold two major things in their head at once. And when the third one comes along, they delay the last one and forget it even happened. So this way you can keep them going from crisis
and
to
I want
crisis
police and military from crisis to crisis. When you're being brainwashed, now that you've learned these techniques, notice your commanders are doing it. They're taught this stuff, and they think it's neat to be able to shutter minds and control people.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So people really have lost a sense of dignity and self-respect, and definitely a common culture. That was part of the big, massive communist move for multiculturalism. It wasn't be nice to other cultures. It was to help you destroy your own cohesive majority.
Get rid of all other cultures and replace it with the corporate Borg Prozac culture.
Mm-hmm, that's correct. And so when you have nothing... See, men tend to stand up for their culture. They stand up for their family. When you destroy the culture, their traditions, and their family, they have nothing left to stand up for. They won't fight for anything.
The culture now is men making jokes about sex and acting tough.
And watching sports and guzzling beer. Yeah.
Well, Alan, I am so alive. I burn with passion and life and love of liberty and decency and honor. And Madison Avenue first teaches you, as you said, to feel inadequate, to feel pathetic, so then the system can say this is what makes you adequate, and that's all the slavery and weakness. But then the men feel even weaker, so they dive into weakness even more and are never quenched. And I just wish people knew the burning, animating fire of liberty that Thomas Jefferson talked about. I wish they could feel it flowing in them and through them. Alan, I've analyzed Copenhagen in depth. It was a 95% failure, and we forced Gordon Brown, the real ringleader of this, kind of the current head of the circus, to then just come out when it failed. They couldn't get countries to sign on to the global taxes and controls. He just said, well, we'll just have the Western world go ahead and start levying the taxes and giving it to the IMF and World Bank, and we'll go ahead and start monitoring the third world and cutting off their funds if they don't do it. So openly showing he's a tyrant. But I am optimistic. They are drugging people in the water and food. They are dumbing people down. They are playing us off against each other, those of us that are awake. But I do see them. Things are not going as well as they wanted. Now, they readjust. They never give up. But I think humanity has a chance of beating this. You know, everything they've done is study us to know how to stop us from ever defeating them. But I really have some hope, Alan.
There's always hope, and it's a matter of, again, never giving up either. They never give up, so we must never give up. And for every day, new folk tune into the radio shows and listen. Every day. And young ones do too. And they're the ones who are going to have to take up the brunt of and take the cudgel off eventually down the road to make sure they have their rights back. We're only starting off the process and keeping the information alive at the moment. They'd love to kill the information altogether, but they can't. Not yet. So
for those that don't know, isn't a cudgel a Scottish name for a war club?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure. Pick up the club.
Yeah, that's what they got to do because it's going to. We're dealing with, as you say yourself, the utmost ruthless people at the top that's ever existed, who are so cocksure themselves now. They believe they can do whatever they wish to the general population of an entire planet. And
to the point of, hey, we're drugging your water, and we're going to start testing your blood to make sure you're drinking it.
Yes, and there's already drugging most of the young boys out there that can think and have leadership qualities. I mean, this is full-scale war. Thought out a long time ago. As Julian Huxley said, we'll use pharma and so did Bertrand Russell. He said we shall look for those with leadership qualities, and if we can't bring them in through scholarships into our system, we'll have to eliminate them. That's what he said. Because they couldn't allow people who could convey what's happening to the rest of the people and become leaders. They'd have to drug them or annihilate them.
You know, I look at old photographs and old film footage of just like my grandfathers and people before them, and their eyes, especially their parents, you know, back in the 40s and 50s, they were coming out with smaller little reel tapes, and we found some and watched them. and just normal people in photos. I mean, their eyes were just burning with luminance and intelligence, and people looked so good, even if they were poor or dressed I mean, people just radiated power. There is no doubt. I mean, they admit the fluoride alone is a deadly toxic chemical that brain damages, makes you obese, attacks all the glands, but they are drugging us en masse.
Yes, and that was always a big part of it. The combination of pharma working with big government was written about 60, 70 years ago. That was always their goal, a compliant, obedient population. Absolutely. Remember that movie THX, the 700, they called it?
THX 1138, which is a...
Fantastic portrayal.
That's what they're actually planning. That's by George Lucas, his thesis film with Robert Duvall, for those that don't know, based on Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, which is actually the plan.